Hey everyone, welcome out to episode 102 of ANNM Mark podcast. It's Mark. Just me this week, no guests. I have some lined up soon. I just been kind of busy with work still, and apartment hunting has been just insane. Uh, Apartments got really expensive in the last couple of years since the last time we were looking, and I'm just like, damn, the pricing so bad. And it's to the point where it's like, you might as well just almost stay where you are and keep paying what you're paying. If it's a lateral move going from a one bedroom to a one bedroom, but you're paying a couple $100 more with no real space change, maybe the floor plan's different. I'm like, that's not appealing. Maybe the location is, but that's not worth the price increase. So that's been why I'm just like, all right, I'm not gonna, you know, stress too much about scheduling a guest this week. I have some coming up for like end of the month into February. And yeah, and that's another reason why there has been a lack of content from me. I haven't really been putting out any YouTube videos in the last like 8 or 9 days. I haven't been able to stream because working, and then my free time is apartment hunting, cleaning, organizing. And you would think that I have a lot of stuff to show off that I've been picking up and this and that. Not really. I mean, right before I started recording this, I got my Kamen Rider Zero One Blu-ray from Shout Factory. This is cool. This is the first, I guess, released Kamen Rider Blu-ray in the West. And I'm like, ooh, subtitles, this and that. No fan subs, none of that. And I'm like, it's 8 discs. And I was like, the whole show, all the specials, the movie, which was real X time. So I'm like, you know what? I know I'm gonna sit down and do in my free time. I'm gonna be watching that Blu-ray because I actually enjoy Zero One. And obviously with out being able to stream, I'm still chipping away at my Infinite Justice clear color. I still only have the head and the body done. I was doing that on stream. I have the first part of the VOD of that rendered and pieced together to put up on YouTube. My Gunpla backlog chipping away at has been, I don't want to say it's been frustrating. It's just usually I'll sit down and I'll make a whole kit in one sitting, like at least like a SDW hero or something like that. But the Infinite Justice, I'm taking my time. I'm doing it right. I'm making sure there's no nubs on it, this and that, because I have a nice display I already did with my figurized bust of Atherin Azala, and then I built my system base 001, and I'm going to put the Infinite Justice in that. I think that'd be kind of like a cool little display setup. And yeah, so that's... For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can see over my left shoulder, there is a Light Effects Pikachu statue. Found it at Target. I was like, I like the way this looks. The Mewtwo one was so cool when it came out, like a year or so ago. A lot of light effects in it. I was like, well, this it's from Jazzware. I was like, this has to be a good one too, right? Like this has to be a good light up LED effects. So I actually have a YouTube video up right now where I unboxed it, set it up, showed it off, did a review on it, and honestly, like, I don't get buyer's remorse, and I don't have buyer's remorse. I've bought in far worse for higher of a price, and that has let me down, and I just think this wasn't the price points. And I got kind of annoyed because I was watching, like, after I do my reviews, I don't want, if I'm going to review something, I don't watch other people's reviews first. I don't want any ideas. I don't want any thoughts put in my head that, could sway or change how I present my review. So I watched some reviews after the fact, some reviews that had a lot of views on them. And everyone was constantly just hyping this up and saying this is like a great price point and value. And I'm like, did we get the same one? Because this thing is cheap. The light effects on it are lackluster. You have to have all the lights off completely to even slightly enjoy this light effect statue. Whereas the Mewtwo one was insane. It had the base in front of him, the sides by his hands, everything was LED. This is just that little orange ball in front of him. And even then, it's not that bright. And I was like, I don't know how you guys are hyping this up that much, because you guys getting a cut on this? Because I thought, like, I'm like, this should be $20 cheaper minimum. Like, I don't think it should be more than $30. and but it was still cool. I mean, it's on display with other Pokemon stuff. It's good on its own. It's not, but having more Pokemon memorabilia and stuff on display around it, it adds to it. But yeah, no, that was. So another thing I found at Target. Oh, that was my wrist. Oh, that hurt. I found the Pudgy Pig Lightning Collection, and I know what you're thinking, Mark. Didn't you do this whole video and you got rid of your whole Lightning Collection set? Yes, I did. This is not for me. But I did. It was on. Oddly enough, it was on clearance at Target. It was on clearance, and I was like, "Oh, this is on clearance. You know what? Like, I'm gonna scoop it up." I have a lot of friends that are into Lightning Collection and Mighty Morphin stuff, especially the villains, and they have been struggling to find it. So I was like, you know, it's the last one. It's on clearance for some reason, even though it's a newer release, I believe. So I was like, you know what? I don't follow any of the Lightning Collection stuff, so I don't know. I don't know if it's a newer release. That's the first time I've seen it in stores, and it was clearance. So I was like, you know, I'll pick it up. And I hit up one of my friends like, hey, I found the Pudgy Pig. I was on clearance. I picked it up. I know you don't have it because you tweeted about it. And he's like, oh, cool, man, thanks. So that's Pudgy Pig. And so comic books, I haven't really pulled anything this week. I got a couple issues last week. Like I did a whole video explaining why my Marvel and DC pulls like are non-existent. I'm getting into more indie stuff through Comixology now. And I just saving money. I'm trade waiting, honestly. Like, and that's, you know, where instead of pulling all these issues every week, I'm waiting till the trades come out, and usually they're anywhere from $12.99 up to $20, depending on how big the run is and how they volume it out. And that's all the issues right in there. So I'm trade waiting on a lot of stuff just because space, and I don't want to get invested in a comic book and have it suck. I'd rather wait until there's a couple trades or so out, and then I'll pick it up. And so not really that, but in the video where I went over everything, I also talked about how I've been pulling a lot more, like buying a lot more manga, reading a lot of that. So as of right now, I'm almost done with this thick boy, this Kamen Rider 50th Anniversary Classic Collection manga. Like I've been trying. I think it's like 855 pages long. I did a whole video going over it and reviewing the actual manga itself on the YouTube channel, and it's big. Like I'm probably like 2/3 of the way through it, so I'm like reading, you know, like 20-30 pages or more. No, more than that, like a day. Take a day off here and there from reading it. I did pick up the new team up missions from My Hero Academia. Volume 2 came out this month, so I just read that. That was good also. And then this ties into gaming and graphic novels and books in general, because I read a lot of books. Like I don't talk about them on the podcast, but I do read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of audiobooks and a lot of podcasts. It's how I kill time. If I want some background noise, like I'll listen to an audiobook or another podcast or this and that, like on my way to work, on my breaks. You know, and one of the franchises I really love is Five Nights at Freddy's. And it's funny because I've only played 2 of the games, and I am not a fan of the gameplay of the games, but I like the idea of the story and the world building. And I read the books, like the Silver Eyes, the Twisted Ones, and this and that, and like the fourth wall or fourth door. Like I read, actually, what is it? Yeah, I read the Silver Eyes, and then the Twisted Ones, and then there's like the fourth door or something like that. I read 3 of the books, and I really enjoyed them. And so I noticed when I was at Target, they have graphic novel versions of them. So they didn't have the Silver Eyes, which is the first one, but they do have book 2, which is the Twisted Ones. And the books are really good. I do like the artwork in these. It's not too bad of artwork, but I'm just like, yeah, this is good. This is good for my collection. And even though I read the book itself, I am going to read the graphic novel version because I love me some trades. I love graphic novels. And so, yeah, that was, you know, my kind of, I guess, book related pulls and purchases and currently reading that I've been working on. So I haven't really, like, it's funny. I haven't been like collectible hunting lately at all. It's just been exhausting. And also with moving, it's like, why would I go and buy more stuff to bring into the apartment when I need to start packing soon? And that's not gonna be fun. And I'm just like, yeah. So even when I was out, I saw some cool things I really wanted. And I was like, no, I'm gonna wait. I saw some gunpla kits and I was like, I need to get those. I'm like, no, you gotta do a pet deposit, regular deposit, and you got, moving truck and this and that. I was like, no, don't buy those gunpla kits right now. And it was very tough to have self-control. And I commend myself for not spending more money than I needed to. So yeah, that's why it's like it's not really a whole lot. Plus, there's games coming out. Like I've been gaming section right now. Like for like I can actually talk about a lot of games I've been playing finally. So I've been playing Project Zomboid, which is this survival horror sandboxy style, like, but it's not like a fully rendered like 3D game. It's it's $20 on Steam. There's a lot of depth to it though. Like there was a whole scene when I was streaming it. I was being chased. There were zombies in the upstairs floor of this 2-floor house. So I opened the window and I thought maybe there was a balcony, but there wasn't. So when I jumped out of the window, I fractured my foot. So now your character's dragging the foot. But the thing is, you can find clothing, tear up the clothing, make makeshift bandages, and you can actually treat specific injuries. And you have to treat them a certain way. So then I can go search a house and try and find like painkillers or aspirin or Tylenol or something like that. And then you actually have to go and you can wash the bandages and reapply them. Or if your character's sad or this and that, and you find like antidepressants in a medicine cabinet, you can get those. And there's a depth to the cooking, and there's so much to do in that game, and I love it so much because it's a game I've been following for a while, and they kept doing updates and updates. And then in December, they did a big like 4 point something update on it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the game. And then I forgot about it, and then a friend of mine tweeted about it, and I was like, but that game sounds familiar. And I was like, oh shit, that is Project Zomboid. That's on my Steam wish list. It's been on there for quite some time. So I finally caved in and purchased that and was really enjoying that. Oddly enough, I'm on like a zombie creature kick right now because I also picked up a game called Dismantle. And it's on Steam, or you can get it on Xbox and a few other platforms. I know it's on sale on Xbox right now for like $15. I picked it up on Steam, and it's a lot of crafting, kind of open world with some quests, but you were in a shelter and you come out of the shelter and there's a zombie apocalypse or creature happen, and you're basically, the whole idea is almost everything in the world is destroyable to get crafting materials, and then you want to craft and upgrade your backpack and your crowbar and throwing knives and clothing and all this other stuff. There's a lot to it. It's a lot of fun. It has co-op, and I was just like, yeah, no. I started playing that a little bit last night. I played for about 2 hours and I was like, I'm hooked. This game is so good. I'm going to be playing this for quite some time. And then obviously, thanks to Game Pass, Rainbow Six Extraction is out as well. I've done the tutorial. That's about it. I have to jump back in when some of my friends are around so we can play. Like I said, it's creatures and like the zombies type stuff. Like that stuff's like appealing again to me for some odd reason. I don't know if it's just because how the last 2 years have been or whatever else, or the fact that it's like distance like makes the heart grow fonder. Like I haven't really touched any zombie related stuff in a couple of years. I was getting kind of burnt out on that genre. And then also we have Dying Light 2 coming out in February, and that's one of my most hyped games of the year for me anyways, because I loved Dying Light. Me and my cousin put countless hours into that game. That was a phenomenal game, and the following DLC was really good. I may try and jump back into Dying Light just before the second one comes out, just so I can like play through the story again, because I haven't played that game in a long time, but it was so good. I just love that game. And then also we have Pokemon Legends Arceus. That's freaking coming out this Friday. And I'm like, man, when am I gonna have like time to get like any of this stuff done? I'm not, like, I have no time to play all these games on top of everything else going on with like work and my personal life. but I'm gonna find time because I need to play Dying Light. I need to play the new Pokemon game because it's so different. And I was watching all these videos for it, and I was like, this is the evolution of Pokemon I've been wanting. If you go back to older episodes of the podcast, when I talked about Sword and Shield and I did my review of it, and then I played the DLC and talked about that, and how for the price point of like what, $40, the DLC was not worth it. And in the overall scheme of things, Sword and Shield didn't really deliver a next generation, a new generation of Pokemon gameplay. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I think, were far superior to Sword and Shield. And I know a lot of people say it's the other way around, but I'm just like, well, they took a game that was already established and came out years ago and did a remake of it, kind of like the Link's Awakening style with like the chibi and the art style. And I was like, this was enjoyable because you know what to expect with Diamond and Pearl. Whereas Sword and Shield was supposed to be something new, and it just didn't deliver. Like now the hindsight 2020, now that I've finished playing it eons ago, finished all the Pokédexes, you know, this and that, it's like too many Pokemon games get to the point where it's like, well, what are we going to do replayability if you finish all the Pokédexes in the story? It's like, well, we'll add online competitive mode. Cool. But there's a lot of hacked Pokemon. They're like, oh, well, we'll cater to the streamers and the shiny hunting. And it's like, oh, that's cool too. Shiny hunting is boring. Like, I never got into shiny hunting. I never will. It's just something that never appealed to me. And I still think out of all the Pokemon related Switch games, so we have Pokemon Unite, we have Sword and Shield plus the DLCs, and then we have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. We have Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. We have the Mystery Dungeon DX. Did I say Pokemon Snap already? Yeah, Pokemon Snap. So out of all those games, really the top two that I think have been released is Pokemon Snap and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I do like Pokemon Unite, but that's a free-to-play game, and that's different. That's going to be a living game that's constantly going to be going on. But from a standalone buying a game, everything's there. DLC possibly. Like the Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu and Mystery Dungeons DX are the top two Pokemon games that have been released. And obviously that's my opinion. A lot of people agree to disagree. I know I have a lot of friends who still play Sword and Shield, play competitively online. They're, you know, getting their perfect IVs and this, that. And I'm like, that's cool. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. Me, I don't give a shit. Like, I just want to play a good story and have fun gameplay and not take Pokemon seriously. I mean, I will in the new game coming out on Friday. Like, I'm gonna take that real serious. But from the standpoint of just enjoying a game, yeah, no, I don't. Pokemon Snap is, out of all the games from a visual standpoint, is the most visually appealing Pokemon game I've ever played in my life. Like, the water reflections, the details, everything, like the scale, everything is to scale. I was like, oh, this is perfect. And of course, it's not done by Game Freak, you know. In Mystery Dungeon, I love the art style of like the pastel colors, kind of like that hand-drawn cell shading. Like, it's the charm of that game. And I don't usually use that term a lot, but that game is very charming, and I'm hard pressed to say that it's highly underrated and a gem on the Switch. And I'm really hoping we get some of the other Mystery Dungeon ones. I'm hoping we get Pokemon Conquest on the Switch. I think out of all the Pokemon games ever released, Pokemon Conquest and maybe the Pokemon card game, and not the online one that's going on right now, but like the actual card game from the Game Boy Color, I believe it was, that those two games, because I think Conquest was like the DS. I think those two games would be perfect, because Pokemon Conquest was kind of like a hybrid of Nobunaga's Ambition and like Romance in the 13 Kingdoms mixed with Pokemon, which on paper you're like, what? I would love to sit in on that pitch meeting for that game. That would have been great. But that Conquest is still, out of all the games I've released, one of my favorites. And I still want the Pokemon GX game that was released on GameCube. That was all campaign and story. That one was really good too. There's a lot of good Pokemon games out there that aren't mainline, like Gen 1, Gen 2 through 8 and stuff like that. There's a lot of side garnish Pokemon games that don't get a lot of love and don't get talked about. And I think, you know, it's there's such a library of them. And I was hoping once we got Mystery Dungeons, DX, and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I was like, oh, are they going back to the well and getting us some, older Pokemon games and just kind of remastering them a bit, and remaking them? Because I'm all for it. They will need a list of games. I'm like, I will give you a list, because there are so many, and I think there's a whole generation now of gamers who like Pokemon that weren't around when those games were out to actually fully enjoy them. But yeah, that's kind of my rant on Pokemon. Like, Pokemon, that's like the only thing I'm like really, outside of Dying Light. It's like those are the top two games I'm gonna be playing for the next couple months that are new anyways. I'm still gonna be playing Dismantle, Extraction, Project Zomboid. Project Zomboid, I'm probably gonna play more streaming than just like on my own and playing it. And then, man, trying to think what else. I haven't really been like watching a lot of stuff. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. Been keeping up on Peacemaker. Um, while it's not a perfect show, I do see the entertaining appeal of Peacemaker. I've been enjoying it and laughing a lot. It's a good show. I can see why some people are like, because it's not for everybody. It's not gonna, like, you can't make a comic book movie or a comic book show that's going to appeal to everybody. It's just impossible. And it's like the whole Dark Knight line. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And it's like, well, shows that are critically acclaimed for one season, they get a second season, it starts to decline. They get their third season, and then everyone starts to turn on it. It's like, there will never be one superhero show that is universally loved by everyone from a complete standpoint, not just a season. Because let's face it, Heroes season 1 was great. Season 2, thanks to the writer's strike, made no sense. 3, they kind of bounced back from. 4, meh, and Heroes Reborn doesn't exist. So there's a lot. And even with like The Boys, people are like, oh, already complaining about the next season of The Boys. Invincible is really good from an animated show. I'm curious if it's going to stay consistent. I haven't given up on it yet. I probably won't. This is why I like tokusatsu stuff, honestly, because like it's one season and it's done. It's like you like Kamen Rider 01 that came out 2 years ago. Then we had Kamen Rider Saber, and now we have Kamen Rider Revice going. And it's like, well, if the season isn't going to do it for me, I know next season there'll be a whole new batch of characters, because you don't get 2 seasons. And that's why I like Ultraman. Ultraman, every season's a different character. Like we just had Ultraman Trigger just finished, which was the new generation Tiga for the anniversary of Ultraman Tiga. And now we're getting anniversary season for Dyna. And I'm like, yeah, like Ultraman, like if you don't like the season, you don't have to watch it. At least next season it's a whole new story and a new character. And that's fine. Whereas, here in the West, you get a show, they're going to milk it. How many seasons? Look at The Walking Dead. That's still going. Supernatural went on way too long. I mean, the only thing I will say is Smallville had a weak, 6, 7, 8 season, and like those 3 seasons, and then kind of picked back up a bit. But Smallville was... I love Smallville. I will never say anything bad about it. Or Psych, which isn't a superhero show, but that's one of my favorite shows that I rewatch all the time from start to finish, because it's phenomenal, and I love the comedy of it, and the chemistry between Sean and Gus is great, and it's one of my favorite shows ever. And there's just not... This is... I got the Kamen Rider Tamagotchi thing, and this thing is so freaking loud. The thing is like always making noise, and I'm like, oh god. I got a video going for that too. I'm working on. So I was like, yeah, but TV shows and movies, like I haven't really been trying to go see Scream still. I think I'm gonna go tomorrow and see that. Just haven't had time. And then TV shows not really. From a new TV show standpoint, I'm basically just watching Peacemaker, and I'm behind on a few other shows like Expanse and La Brea and all these other ones. It's just like I just don't have time. And with trying to create content and everything else, I kind of got to put some stuff on the back burner. Like the other day, I just relaxed and played some Mario Kart for once. No streaming, no TV, no movies, nothing like that. Just played Mario Kart, and it was so much fun. And I was like, I needed that. I need that like every once in a while to just like unplug everything. Don't worry about anything else. Just play a nice Mario Kart game. But yeah, so that's really it for gaming and some of the movies and stuff like that. Just man, it's not even gonna be a long episode this week because I just have so much stuff I'm working on, and it's frustrating because I was like, do I skip a week of the show? Do I not, talk about at least like some of the stuff I got and what's been going on? Because last week with having, K20 Customs on, which was, that was a lot of fun. That was probably that was easily top 5 most fun times I've had doing a podcast episode. And not just out of my 102 episodes, I mean in general, because I've been on a lot of podcasts. I've done podcasts before I even started this one before. This was one of the most fun ones I've had, and I have another one coming up. I'm going to be on the Tokudan podcast with, and that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking some indie tokus and probably gush about Kamen Rider Blade a bit because the other day it was the 18th anniversary of Kamen Rider Blade, which is one of my favorite Kamen Rider seasons, and it's one of the best. I don't care what we say. It is. I'm right. Yeah. But yeah, no. By the way, there are some other things, not comic and nerdy stuff related. First off, my freaking Elite Atlas Pro thingies from Turtle Beach broke. I don't even know how. Like, they didn't drop on the floor or anything. I literally went to go put them on my head before I started recording this, and it just came off and snapped. And that's so annoyed. And then from another standpoint of, when things are going on, it's busy, I'm hectic, I want to relax and chill. I used to draw a lot. So I actually finally, for the first time in a really long time, I bought a sketchbook. Yeah. Because I actually minored in art. It was one of the main things I did in high school. And then in college, my electives, I took all art related classes. And I took, some graphic design stuff, some sketch and still life and this and that. The graphic design stuff was like, back then was how to do magazine layouts. Yeah. And, moving logos around and this and that. It was boring class, but taught me a lot of things. And then I finally got them and eyeing it. Because I wanted to get something entry level. I got my Wacom Bamboo. This is the Bamboo Fun. Picked this up at Book Off because, I go to Book Off all the time. I couldn't beat the price, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up. This will be nice to kind of get me back into doing more art stuff because I used to do that stuff all the time. Like that's all in high school, college, at work, in that time frame. If I was on a break or anything, I had a sketch pad and I was just drawing constantly or painting. It was very artistic and I was actually really good at it. But in that time frame back then, there was no money to make a career out of that unless you're going to be an art teacher or a curator or this and that. It wasn't like now where you have the internet where you could sell freaking digital prints and do commission work. Like that wasn't a thing back then. And I wish it was because I would have had a whole different career path. But, better late than never. So I'm getting into that. I already tested it out a bit in Photoshop, getting used in Illustrator, getting used to how it works. But I'm still like a traditionalist. I was like drawing on paper. Still just feels a lot different. And it's going to take an adjustment before I just jump into using the tablet only. But I thought, hey, this is a nice outlet, a nice way to kind of just blow off some steam, so to speak, and yeah, so be on the lookout for more stuff. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of design stuff and a lot of logos. I think once I'm in the new place and, I'm getting more fine tuning of the software, the tablet, and getting the rust off of my drawing abilities, I may go back to doing commission stuff. I've done commissions in the past. I may jump into that water, and it's less about the money of it. It's more of just creating art. And that's something I've been wanting to get back into. And I was like, you know what? I should have did this while I was at the stay-at-home order, like the quarantine. I should have got back into the stuff then. But instead, I was playing Fire Emblem Three Houses for like 60 hours in 1 week on top of everything else. So that's my own fault. But I'm happy that I'm starting the art stuff now. It's better late than never. And yeah, that's really it. So like I said, it's a short episode this week. I just got too much going on and I feel bad. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to put an episode out, you know, go over at least what I'm reading, what I've been playing, everything else. Kind of like how the episodes used to be when I was like, hey, when I had all section out, it's like comics, games, movies, TV shows, and then a quick topic of the week. So realistically, there's just no topic of the week. But, or we can actually just say me going over a Pokemon franchise. No, that wasn't even that good either. You know what? Yeah, I'll figure that out. But I thank you guys for coming out and checking out episode 102 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. Next week is going to be a bigger episode, and I'm really excited because it's going to be a big, huge breakdown / review-ish type thing for Pokemon Legends Arceus, because I'm gonna be playing the shit out of that game so much, and I'm possibly going to be streaming it over the weekend. I have not decided yet. It just depends on how tired I am and what else I have going on. I still have a lot of other videos to edit and render. So with that being said, I thank you guys for checking out episode 102 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. The podcast is now available, or well, it's still available on all podcasting platforms. You can go to anchor.fm/ANNM podcast. Obviously, all the links are in the description below, both on YouTube and in the podcast itself. And realistically, the easiest way to do it is type in a Nerd Named Mark podcast into any search engine, any podcasting platform. It will pop up. Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Is it still Google Podcasts? I don't. Pod Republic, iHeartRadio, all of them. Just type in a Nerd Named Mark podcast. It'll pop up. Go on Twitter, just a Nerd Named Mark. My face pops up, and I believe my default photo is me in a Chewbacca onesie. I'm not sure. I haven't changed my profile pic in a while. But yeah, I thank you guys for stopping by and checking out the episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below, are you hyped for the new Pokemon game? And better yet, what is your favorite Pokemon game? It doesn't have to be like a Gen 1 through 8 thing. It could be, like I said, Pokemon Conquest. It could be Pokemon Snap for the N64. It could be the new Pokemon Snap. What is your favorite Pokemon game? Because I'm always curious, because there's no right or wrong answer, obviously, but I'm always curious because I have this conversation with my friends and they always tell me like, oh, well, like, you know, I like Leaf Green and Fire Red. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, Red and Blue. And they're like, no, I strictly like the Game Boy Advance one. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm always curious to see what other people like for Pokemon games, especially because there's so many and there's so many different Pokemon now. That's why I was like, I'd rather ask about the games than what your favorite Pokemon is. I mean, you can still tell me anyways. But yeah, I thank you guys for watching. That's it for the episode. So that's it for episode 102 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. My name's Mark, and I'm a nerd.